Hi there, welcome to this week's Mastery Monday. So today I want to talk about head position. So as you look at this swimmer swimming down the pool, you can see that their head position, it has that typical looking down head position that we hear people talking about all of the time. But what happens is when we have a look at the back of her head, we can see that really there's none of it out of the surface of the water. And in actual fact, her chin is actually tucked in here, and she's actually got her, if we really followed where her goggles were, she would almost be slightly looking backwards. And if we were to, we always talk about getting someone to imagine that they have books on the top of their head. And what's happening here, if she did have her books on her head in this position, the book would actually be at this angle. And she's actually sending her energy ever so slightly downwards. Now, the reason why we don't want to have the head in this position is first and foremost, it puts stress on the back of the neck here. But what it also does is it also causes a little bit of a more of a lordosis here and causes more of a disconnect in this area of the body because the joints are not actually in alignment because the skull is being pushed down and there's too much flexion in the neck area. This can then change the position of the rib cage, which then makes the rest of the line down the body unable to stay in the right place. So what you want to do is you want to really think about where the head position is rather than where you're looking. So I never ever use the cue or tell a swimmer to look down because as soon as I do that, the swimmer is going to engage muscles in the neck in order to look somewhere. So what we want to do is have the swimmer imagine that they have something on their head. So I always get them to stand up straight and imagine that they have a book on the top of their head, and that when they then get into the pool, that they're just thinking about swimming that book in the pool in the direction of the wall in front of them. And you can see here how deep this swimmer is going. And I think that's largely down to the fact that her head is being pushed down, remembering that the head is 8% of the body weight and it's out in front and it's gonna have a big impact on the actual center of mass versus center of gravity of that swimmer. So next time you go to the pool, have a think about your head position. In fact, that was just quick. I'm just going to stop that quickly because just at that moment, before she went to breathe, have a look here. So she's got her head in that looking down position here, and then she moves to take the breath, and look how she has to make that change to get her head nearer to the surface of the water. So she actually lifts the head upwards first to get it nearer to the surface of the water because that's where the air is, and then turns her head and gets the most amazing breath. That's exactly what we'd want to see in a breathing position. And in this position, she has her alignment absolutely perfectly. She has her book on her head. She's able to push it in the correct direction, and everything along the surface of her body is straight and aligned. So it's just interesting. I just caught that there as I was saying it, that she had to make that change in her head position because it's so far down. And let's just look what she does when she puts it down. And then she puts it into that downward position again, and you can see how the body the weight just takes her down under the surface of the water. She has a lot of water here. So in that position, from that amazing breath that she just took from here, if she had just literally released the muscles in the back of her neck, then she would have had the perfect head position. But you can see there how she's pushing it down, and you can see the whole energy going downwards. It's really interesting when you slow the video down. So in contrast, here you can see a swimmer with their head in the correct position, And what you can notice is that the goggle line is now straight down rather than slightly back, as we saw before. If they were to have their books on the top of their head as an analogy, you can see how they go in a dead straight line. We can also see how the body line is absolutely perpendicular to the surface of the water. And if we look in the overwater footage over here, what we can see is that we've just got the back of the head now out of the water rather than submerged like we had before. This is going to allow the swimmer to swim in a straight line, stay connected down through the rib cage and the pelvis, keep their legs attached, and send their energy forwards rather than down. So yes, next time you go to the pool, it would be great to have a think about what you're actually doing with your head. Are you allowing it to be an extension of your entire frame down your body? Have you really got the correct part of your head going forwards? And are the muscles in the back of the neck relaxed? Or are you indeed trying to look somewhere? So if you're ever trying to look somewhere, then you know automatically that the muscles in the back of your neck will be engaged, and that will lead to tension and disconnection down the body. So it'd be interesting for you to feedback in the comments whether you feel you can release those muscles and just allow your head to be neutral, and then just see what you see rather than actually looking for something. Thank you for joining us.